Okay, rolling. Technical tape. Harrison Ford, movie star. Let it roll. Better looking than Harrison Ford. I want you to watch the tape 3 times minimum. First time, watch it straight through. Second time, stop and start your tape and take notes. Third time, write down in logical sequential order the adjustments you need to make. Then send me an email, smiths10s@aol.com. There's not a right or wrong way to hit a tennis ball. There's efficient and inefficient. Efficiency is the economy motion, least amount of moving parts, least amount of muscle recruitment. Number 1 reason to change strokes, prevention of injury. Second is to get better. Initially, we've already told you it's not about your game, it's about the game. If you really are a student of technique, you can look on the other side of the net and recognize your opponent's strengths and weaknesses and then form tactical plans. There's all sorts of math. We have gone over the dimensions of the court. The dimensions of the court and physical laws dictate stroke production. No coach's opinion or any unique theory. Everyone be able to state that. The dimensions of the court and physical laws dictate stroke production. No coach's opinion or any unique theory. The athlete is a biocomputer. It takes a human being about 10 minutes to start to program the brain for a task. So the challenge is to deprogram, reprogram. Another way to say that is unlearn, relearn. The brain produces a substance called myelin. It's produced through repetition. And the white matter encodes the neural pathways. And the more myelin, the better one is with speed and smoothness of movement. So you have some bad myelin. So it's awareness, acceptance, commitment. We're going to make you aware of the bad myelin. Then the question is, do you accept it? And then are you committed to making the change? The tennis teaching industry is really based more on service. Coaches are working hard, they're pulling out the baskets, they're under the hot sun, they're feeding balls. But it's, for the most part, it's not education based. If teaching is information transfer, in the end you want to be your own coach, your own teacher, you want to be an independent thinker, problem solver. There's so much math. And we have all sorts of free educational content. One I would recommend is listening to our podcast on tennis math. Our content is based on a lifelong study, homework. People use my name, I can use my name in third person, Steve Smith stuff. But no, for example, the 60 plus research from Gradin that's been forgotten. Others, Vandermeer and Van Horn. So you just think on this particular shot, it demands more calculation. The grip determines the angle of the racket face. The angle of the racket face determines the angle of the racket path. Now you've traveled so much, you've met a lot of people that are bilingual, trilingual, become fluent. And most people that are fluent, like say here in Florida, English and Spanish, or like right here at Valentine, English and Russian, they're born into it. For example, speaking Russian at home and then speaking English once you leave the front door. Again, smoothness and speed of movement. We ask you to hit down the line so you can have the longest possible hitting zone. The hitting zone is about 18 to 20 inches in length for a time span of 75 milliseconds. The ball is only on the strings 3 to 6 milliseconds. By the time you feel the hit, the ball is 7 to 11 feet away from you. By the time you feel the hit, it's 70 milliseconds. So we realize that tennis is an art, it's also a science, but we don't teach by feel, it's really to teach more by fact. Philosophy comes into it, everybody should have a written philosophy. One for us, adopted from Gradin, be able to hit every shot from every position of the court, any surface, singles or doubles. He once asked Federer, how did you become so good? He said, when I was younger, I made a list of all the shots I needed to be able to hit. The human eye sees 24 frames per second related to a camera. Now when it comes to video, I'm an outlier. I've done so much with video over the years. You can see that your strings don't go towards your target. I would say, for example, that your tactics, in watching you play singles, I realized you were injured and you didn't play all summer. I don't understand how you can have a problem with your shoulder and not work your legs, though. But with that, like for example, you're so reluctant to go forward. It's not just the mechanics on your backhand volley, mechanics on your forehand volley, mechanics on your overhead. Changing strokes. It's not easy. But on the other hand, if someone is committed, next time you have bacon and eggs for breakfast, the chicken was involved, but the pig was committed. Most tennis kids don't have the connection between the bench and the brain, where if some sports, you don't make the changes, you don't play. I have to ask players all the time, should we teach you what's happened or what's happening? And for the most part, the industry now is based on teaching what's happened. For example, on the forehand side, people don't emphasize the follow-through. Talk about the modern game. One assignment we give people all the time is go to YouTube, plug in Borg-Federer comparison, and it's like they're a carbon copy of one another. You can't really violate physical laws. At the impact point, from a biomechanical standpoint, pros are 90% the same. You have a regress palm up on your overhead. We'll go through that. With this tape, we have to make the slow motion analysis. That's the second part. We have make a classroom review. Einstein, you know your subject if you can explain it to a 6-year-old. Why you have a regress palm up, it's logical, intelligent. You see your target straight ahead and you see it through the net. Now we have to explain to you what's a regress palm up. Now again, you've been here for a week. We observed you training, observed you playing. For example, this young man here to the left, you saw what we did with him in 5 days. These 2 girls from Montreal. We ask everyone to teach. Teaching is the highest form of retention for learning. You know, pet peeve number 796. You really, Harrison, should close in for a volley, make it realistic, and then move back. But we say, okay, we'll film overheads. People just stand comfortably around the service line. Using the word comfort, you really want to be comfortable being uncomfortable. If it feels awkward, it feels bad, you're making the change. Now, with some of your strokes, it's more Band-Aids than major surgery. But again, tennis players, for the most part, they remain the same. Most college tennis players, they really come out hitting the ball the same way they went in. They're more mature, they're bigger, stronger, they've been in the gym, they've been on the track. Things have changed so much. In college tennis years ago, freshmen couldn't play. We had to take a developmental year. I always tell people, Stan Smith, Arthur Ashe. They did okay. They both won the US Open, they both won Wimbledon. But when they were freshmen in college, it was a developmental year. Stan Smith still talks about George Foley teaching him how to volley. Now, you've been to a lot of tournaments, ITs, ITFs, idiots traveling foolishly. People travel all over the world, but they don't really have the game in place. You see so many kids now, in an overused phrase is serve plus one, and what they do is they just run around their backhand and it looks to launch a forehand. Like for example, the girls from Montreal, they're 14 years old. They started tennis 7 years ago. They've always played one-up, one-back doubles, and they never went to the net. So you can see how your right arm flies open. You shift your eyes, the brain is to the second head of the hand. We have you filming from the service line, or serving from the service line. Pause it for a second. It's 60 feet either way, baseline to service line to baseline. But you have a very high toss, and from the baseline we can't really capture your toss. Okay, let's go back and start the second part. Slow motion. Patrick Moneygooloo, I know the man. Up, here you go. Hold up. Now go back. Now, you should be able to critique this because we started with instruction yesterday. And again, I'll make many mistakes as you're a lefty. I'll talk to you like you're a righty. You know how that works. You live in a right-hander's world. Your right elbow is down. Your left arm is bent. Your racket face is open. You set this swing with arm movement, not with body rotation. So with one flaw, there's a counter flaw. What you're going to do on a volley, the ball's hit three ways, plus, minus, IP. Plus is strong, minus is weak, IP is in play. Your backhand volley is going to be weak. If you were on the other side of your volley, the person's going to get another chance to pass you. The term stick your volley means get hit by a stick. Okay, go ahead. Hold up. So there's no momentum source of power. You made a step before the hit. Now this is off a courtesy feed, a predictable feed. You knew you were going to get a backhand volley. Ball's fed you about 30 miles per hour. Now we've watched you play points and we put you through skill testing. Winning is a byproduct of skills. Now, just in looking at this volley, we'll look at it again and again, different angles, and you'll see you do the same thing because it's programmed. It's an automatic conditioned response. Okay, go ahead. No such thing as a perfect grip, just a grip with the least amount of adjustment. You want to have your base knuckle of your left hand on the left side of the number one panel. The ready position, you're close, put your right index finger in the strings, fingertips on the throat of the racket, push your hands further in front. Should be able to put a basketball between the butt of your racket and your belly button. For more control, have the bottom part of your hand even with the bottom part of the racket. A lot of people think, well, it's a longer lever, it feels looser. You just will like hanging on the racket the way you've been hanging onto the racket. Your power sources really are much greater than just hanging onto the racket or hanging with your hand off the racket. All right, go ahead. So brain memory, hold up. It's going to be exactly the same. You're programmed. Now in research, they've never got a ball to bounce the same way twice, but it's just amazing. Your right elbow's down. Look how open the racket face is. It's a wraparound. Go ahead. Okay, hold up. Now, you don't let your right arm go back. Okay. All right, go ahead. There's no forward momentum. The power line, hold up. So a coach could say to you, Harrison, close in. You say, well, that makes sense to close in. But it's going to be very difficult for you to be explosive and close in because you can't really go forward with a racket. All right, let's go to the side view. Just let it run. So you're leaving the court because we filmed Sean. We'll use here. Okay, we let it run here. Now the type of training we did with you just today or even yesterday, most tennis kids would fire the coach. I'm not doing that, Mom. Okay, go ahead, go back. But you have to understand that very few people who coach tennis have taken a beginning player to a high level. All right, now, you've already made this step. Ideally, you want to step diagonally. You're stepping with your right foot. All right, now your strings are facing up towards the sky. They're facing the next court. Okay, go ahead. And you have to realign the racket. When you do that, hold up. The racket slows down. When you change the path of the racket slows down. If you don't change your grip, you have to change your wrist to get the racket face vertical. Now you have the racket face vertical, but again, you don't have the hitting zone. Watch where the racket goes. Okay, hold up. So granted, there's times where you have to improvise. You're not going to have a perfect contact point every time. You're straight up and down. Your weight's not really forward. All right, let it run. Okay, hold up. Now let's go back and just watch that one. Okay, hold up. All right, go backwards a couple clicks. Backwards, other way. Hold up. So you can almost put a pizza or a glass of water on the racket. Okay, now, you don't want to play the blame game. If you did play the blame game, the brain's so powerful, so sophisticated, you'd want to go back to your beginning days in tennis. But chip it, knife it, slice it, control it. All right, go ahead. All right, hold up. Now you get the racket face vertical, but you don't line it up even close to being vertical. Now, if you watch the pros, they take the racket through space with body rotation. And it's difficult to say, well, watch what pros? If you went to the supermarket of tennis, Stefan Edberg would be a very good person to go back and look how he volleyed. But the racket face is vertical. That's where you're a good player. But good is the enemy of great. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now, a lot of times, we have to tell people, check the ego at the door. You got to be willing to take 100 steps backwards to take 1,000 steps forwards. If there's no instant gratification. Okay, a good way to measure your improvement is 1 year at a time. And you have about 300 days before you go to college. All right, so I would not recommend what everybody else recommends. You know, get really fit. I'd recommend that. But just play tournaments. Every day is a tournament. Every day is a tournament. Other sports, people don't play 12 months out of the year. Okay? All right, let's go to the next angle. Now this is going to tie into your underspin backhand. So when you did play this past weekend, your lefty serve, you got some weak returns, people floating the ball, and you're not playing an all-court game. There should be a gap, Harrison, between your upper arms and upper body. The hands should be out in front. It's very good out. You're up off the ground. The heels are up. Pre-stretch the calf muscles. All right, go ahead. Okay, hold up. Now go back. So the elbow's down. The racket face is too open. All right, now watch what happens. You bring your hand back into your body. You shorten the lever. Hold up. Power is related to the radius squared. Your left arm disappears. Now watch where the racket goes. Hold up. Your arm should really be level. Action, reaction. Let your right arm go all the way back. The right palm is down. Okay, you have to get a visual. So at the end of practice, I had you facing you as a lefty and Nisha as a righty. Before that, you were doing the wall exercises. Ask as many questions as you have. Okay, but then when it comes down to it, don't think, do. Generally thinking with teenagers, especially teenage boys, it's just interference. The worst thing you can think about is winning. UTR, results, outcome. All right, go ahead. It will take care of itself if you have the skill. Okay, now hold up. Now, imagine if you were a football player and the ball hit you right in the hands and you dropped it. Not too long ago, a group of us, we were at the university here, FAU, and I told the kids, okay, well, just sit here and watch, and we won't leave until one of the receivers drops the football. We finally left. No one had dropped the football. And, you know, they're taught to put their thumbs like this when the ball is up high, pinkies like this when the ball is low. But you just missed that ball in the bottom of the net. All right, go ahead. Times have changed. In the 60s, when I grew up, hold up, people would just give you a hard time. Somebody tossed you a ball and you didn't catch it, you'd hear about it. It's not the fault of the kids today. I think a lot of times parents get blamed. It's not the fault of the parents. There's no sandlot sports. I mean, the PE classes, kids playing multiple sports, electronic games. There's all the explanation of why things are the way they are. Okay, go ahead. And it's going to be a ditto, carbon copy. Hold up. Okay, body weight's back. Racket doesn't go out towards your target. Okay, all right, go ahead. All right, let's go to the next shot. So, 8 shots. Now, obviously, with your size, you're not going to be hitting a two-handed volley, but we teach the two-handed volley. Hold up. Because a two-handed volley goes with the return serve pattern. Today, you're with one of the other players, Civi, and we're telling them this is the most efficient way, the least amount of moving parts, least amount of muscle recruitment for you to have options on your return to serve. That's the key word, options. Okay, so let's watch this. It's no problem. We have a little bit out of order. Hold up. From a learning standpoint, the underspin backhand goes with the backhand volley. But right now, you were told that you take the racket low. You have a reset swing. The racket should just go high, low, high. But you take the racket low. Let's see if you bring the racket back up. A little bit. Now look at your step. Now this is off a courtesy feed. As far as the kinetic chain. Now if you're forced to step diagonally, you have to adjust the back foot. The front foot is the anchor foot. You stabilize yourself to the court. Your racket face is not closed. You were told today, if you made this minor adjustment with your left hand, if you had the golfer's mentality, golfers will run through fire to improve their strokes. Most tennis programs realize if they deal with strokes, the kids are going to be unhappy and go away. Programs cater to the kids being happy Monday through Friday. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now you drop the racket below the wrist. Okay, now look at the contact point. So you're not going to hit true topspin. You're swinging outside in. Now, Harrison, you've been around tennis a bunch. You've heard inside out, outside in, inside inside. And that's all fine related to the target. But the inside out term comes from a technical standpoint, which means swing close to away. When you swing outside inside, you're not going to hit true topspin. All right, go ahead. Okay, hold up. Now go back. So that's where you're going to mirror your competition. You play against a lesser player, someone who hits soft, short, shallow. Your racket pulls to the opposite side. It should stay pointing to the left longer. Watch how it points to the right. Hold up. Now, one thing to be further convincing is we could show you how the pros hit. And you're not going to see a Djokovic like this on the backhand side. A Casper Ruud, any of the top players. There's so many. Yesteryear as well. Agassi, Connors. So when we say hit, freeze, you have a horizontal pull. You don't have a vertical lift. So what you need is you need application. You need to study your content. Do your schoolwork first. You go slow with the content. Tennis intelligence applied. Right? We say freeze. So you're releasing the swing from your lower arms. Okay, let's watch one more from the same angle. Don't come back where you step under, step over. Okay, hold up. So high, low, high. Your racket head should be the same level as your own head. You want racket head speed. You want the racket to free fall. You want to be able to use gravity. All right, go ahead. You're not far off with the grips. But again, left hand moves up on the racket, hold up. And if you change the grip by a fraction of an inch, the racket face would be closed. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now the racket face is still on edge. You've taken a shortcut. Now, I know you didn't train this summer. The physicality, though. Tennis is a lower body sport. You should be sitting in the chair. But right now, you're on vacation. I tell kids that all the time, is you're standing straight up. Your body's a built-in gym. If you go down every time, you'll have tennis player legs. You'll start to get strong. All right, go ahead. Very few tennis players have tennis player legs. Hold up, now go back. So your hands are right in front of your belly button. So too close. All right, go ahead. And then again, it's a little bit better, but still there's a wrist release. A little bit higher. Now, there's not really the kinetic chain where you've been taught the body balance positions. You come up on that back heel, just like you're throwing a medicine ball. You can see movement, but you can't see forces. Okay, let's go to the side view. You stay down with your eyes, down with your head, but you don't stay down with the shot. That's a myth. There's so many myths. Today I was telling you that topspin is a downward motion. It's created with an upward motion of the body and racket. Okay, hold up. My point would be that you should make the changes in your game. You're young, you double your life, you're still young. There's been so much invested in your tennis game. I would say there'd be a void in your life if you didn't say, I am going to become a better tennis player. All right, go ahead. Hands further out. Very good. The racket's centered. Racket's at a 45-degree angle. Bring the racket back up. We call it like a rocking chair. Okay, hold up. So again, you stand straight up. So that's what you need to do. Hand feeding, people tossing balls to you, you and a partner. Okay. The movie Hoosiers, practice is not designed for your pleasure, it's designed for your improvement. Okay, go ahead. Hold up, now go back. Now the individual who recommended that you come here, if you were to choose to go to his school, this is what they're going to do with everybody. And there's very few college programs where there's a developmental approach, from a technical standpoint. All right, go ahead. The racket head, you didn't get hold up. You didn't have the downswing, so you don't have the upswing. And that racket pulls off the hitting zone so soon. It's very good how you keep your eyes at the hit. All right, go ahead. You do relax the swing from the elbows. There is no positive, there is no negative, it just is. Okay, let's go to the next angle. You step underneath. You should learn the habit poem. Just go to YouTube and look up habit poem. Actually, you don't lose a habit, you override it with a new habit. I heard someone say, a good friend of mine, that myelin is a new word for habit. Okay, we'll do the third angle later. Let's just keep going with the order. Go ahead. Hold up. Now, chips are for parties. Okay, the racket, we worked on that today. Keeping the racket, I saw Johan telling you, keep the racket in the alley. So, again, you're so new to this, but you are practicing the wrong way. You have to go, what are they telling me? Keep the racket in the alley? I'm going to keep the racket in the alley. You have to understand the rate of forgetting is scary. People forget so fast. The rate of learning is so slow. All right, let's watch the next one in slow motion. So hand up on the racket, hold up. Base knuckle on the left side of the number 1 panel. Index finger on the strings, right elbow up high. When you turn, you're going to straighten out your left arm. All right, go ahead. Hold up. So we call this a wraparound. Now the pros are going to bend their arm, increase the aerodynamics, be able to swing faster. It's very dangerous to watch the pros. We certainly have kids that we train that, some that were here just this summer, that they spend more time watching YouTube clips. YouTube clips are like potato chips. You can't eat one. All right, go ahead. And they misinterpret what they see the pros doing. Okay, go back. It's almost a carbon copy of your backhand volley. Go back a little further. The racket face is open. When the angle of the racket faces up, the angle of the racket pass is going to go down. So you don't hit drive slice. You're going to float it. Your backhand underspin is not a drive. It's a float. Just tennis lingo, and you're hitting a minus. Go ahead. Hold up. Now the racket goes down and off to your side. Now look what happens to your feet. Now granted, if it was a karaoke step, trying to stay sideways. All right, let it run. So even though you have a bad toe, you lost a toenail, doesn't have anything to do with your technique. All right, go ahead. The grip is the grip. The swing is the swing. Okay, hold up. Now this is the backhand. Go back. No problem. Top spin backhand. So you don't take the racket up at head level. All right, go ahead. So this is your rhythm. This is your signature. It's a software. You have to rewrite the software. Hold up. So you bring the racket back up. So when someone hits a penetrating approach shot, that's an unnecessary movement. All right, now ideally you want to be able to step to the side of the ball like it's home plate. If you do have to step diagonally, which you have here, you have to adjust your back foot. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now the racket face doesn't close. And you're not going to swing inside out. Hold up. Now your hands are not going to get below your t-shirt. All right, go ahead. But you drop the racket head below. Now go back. Now look at the position of your wrist. When your left wrist collapses like that, your elbow bends as well. So it's going to be a shorter lever. Okay, go ahead. Now, go back. Now, your hips are locked. You didn't adjust your back foot. Very good how your eyes are to very good how your trunk is facing the net post. The trunk should be at a 45-degree angle at impact with the finish. Let's watch. So goes the backswing, so goes the rest swing. Hold up. You're just going to make unforced errors. Now, it's based on the fact that the tennis court is less than 20 degrees wide. So your swing went well over 180 degrees. Once again, it's a horizontal release. Okay. Most people, they don't know it, but they play at tennis. They don't play tennis. Now, we were just at a tournament, and if it was music, because our sense of hearing versus our eyesight, if someone, for example, is learning to play a horn, a trombone, a trumpet, a saxophone, it's like, I want to get out of here. It's painful. For me, it's painful to watch people play tennis. I just see it. It's like, oh. It's actually, to say it this way, it's easier on the eyes than it is on the ears. All right, let's watch another one. There's your step underneath. You do it every time. But you just have to go forward. Get myself in trouble here, but the way you hit the tennis ball, you need a refund. You've had a lot of tennis training, but you haven't worked with technicians. But there's not too many of us. All right, go ahead. It's a reset swing. Racket goes below the wrist. Hold up. Your wrist collapses. We can't see your left arm. All right, go ahead. Now, hold up. At the hit, eyes are at the hit, body's at a 45-degree angle. The racket face is facing the target. The racket face is vertical. The weight's gone forward. There's positives. But now the racket's, one, it's not coming like it's going up a flight of stairs, so you don't have the angle up. But it's not going to track out towards the target. Go ahead. It pulls off that hitting zone so soon. Hold up, and the tip of the racket's pointed. It should be for you on the backhand side pointed to the right, but it's pointed to the left. Okay, let's go to the next shot. A lot of times what I tell people is just a shock, like the two girls and yourself. Sean, who came here for 5 days, he was a lower level player than the three of you, but his movement was better. His foot speed was better. It's mind, mechanics, and movement. You can just let this run. We've looked at this. We can look at this from the third angle. Now, in the course of a year, we have people come from here, there, and everywhere to have a video made, and less than 15% of the players send us notes. It's very discouraging, but at the same time, there is some psychic income because the 3% is a magic number. There's a song about the Green Beret, 100 tested, and then 3 make it. Okay, hold up. Less than 3% of junior tennis players will play college tennis. You tell 100 kids to take notes, 100 kids to shadow swing, 3. Like the two girls from Montreal, great kids. By the time they leave here, they'll have an idea of what to do. And, you know, they're obedient. They do what I tell them to do, only if I'm right there minute by minute telling them. All right, now, Halloween's coming up. This might be good if you're going to carve a pumpkin. All right? I mean, look at the angle of the racket head. Go ahead. Now, we know, though, hold up, that there's emergency shots. In other words, you have to dig a ball out of the corner. I think of Federer and his squash shots from the corner. All right, go ahead. All right, now the racket's going to go down. It's just bad math. Okay, all right, let's watch it again. Okay, so hold up. So courtesy feed, you knew it was going to be underspin backhand. From this third angle, we can tell where the shot goes. And you went through the skill test over and over and over again. And people come to us, it's a tiebreaker test, you have to hit 6 shots to score 1 point. And it's very discouraging. People will be 0-7, 0-7. So mind, mechanics, movement. I was at Patrick's place one time, and there's a girl who's 60 in the world, and I said, she won't pass the tiebreaker test. And Patrick said, no, she will pass. She's 60 in the world. And I was feeding the ball at match play tempo, and she couldn't hit the volley, either side, forehand or backhand. I mean, she's going to hit the first 3 shots, the ground stroke, forcing approach shot, but she couldn't volley. All right, go ahead. That's women's tennis. Okay, hold up. The shot you're hitting right here, Navratilova could hit this shot. If you think of it, I'll label it this, an underspin backhand approach shot. And she won Wimbledon 9 times. It's very difficult to have a group of tennis players name 9 people that could hit the shot since she's retired. All right, go ahead. So again, this is a wraparound. And the swing goes down and off to the side. Okay, let it run. The better the player, the simpler the strokes. Simplification is sophistication. Really, college tennis, it's not going to be about your confidence. It's going to be the confidence of the coach. Is the coach going to put you in the lineup? You finally play college tennis, you're playing for something bigger than yourself, so it's a completely different pressure. All right, go ahead. Now, head work is first, footwork is second. Okay, hold up. Now, the forehand volley, the one thing is that you have a lot of experience. No one can take that away from you. That's a great thing. You also have the ability to read shots. So experience again, speed, spin, trajectory. Okay? But what needs to take place is education. So it's enjoyment, it's not hit and giggle enjoyment, the 5 E's. And then it's education, experience, exposure, and then your overall environment. All right, go ahead. Now the racket face is open. Hold up. Your racket face goes down. You straighten out your left arm. Your head is backwards, not your weight. All your weight's not forward. All right, go ahead. But it's so common. We're in the vast majority. Hold up. The players are told, use a continental grip. You don't have time to change your grip. Keep in mind that pros, touring pros, they don't say what they do or do what they say. It's almost a continental grip. It's referred to in technical circles now as a composite grip. It used to be called the Australian grip. All right. Again, no such thing as a perfect grip with the least amount of adjustment. Have your hand be up on the racket just slightly. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now, very good how both hands are together. Very good how the racket's above your wrist. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now, your left elbow should be raised. The racket face right now is up towards the sky. John McEnroe had a continental grip on the forehand volley, but one thing he did is he raised his elbow. He made the adjustment with his elbow and his wrist. But he had to actually play the ball late. He was so good that he would actually jump instead of going forward. I'd have to demonstrate it for you, but go ahead. The racket goes below your wrist. Very good how your hands stay together, though. All right, now see it from the side view. Just let it run. And so it's not just improving your volley. This ties in with stealing the ace on the return, how you play an approach volley, how you set up for a drop shot. Okay, we'll go to side view. Now you have less to change on your forehand volley than your backhand volley. Okay, hold up. All right, now raise your left elbow. Okay, go ahead. Now the racket face is open. You lead in with the edge. Hold up. Now, when the ball is below the level of the net, you're going to have the racket face be slightly open. That's why you don't volley with an Eastern grip. Certainly, we would teach little kids to volley with an Eastern grip. You're not strong enough to volley with a composite. Very good how your eyes are at the head. Very good how you're out in front. It's very good how the step and swing are going together. That's the power source, momentum supply. All right, but the hitting zone, go ahead. So you actually have a tendency to move your hand instead of just playing from your shoulder. Your body is in a neutral position. You're not leaning in. All right, let's watch again from this angle. Palm guidance. Hold up on your backhand at your knuckles. On your forehand, it's going to be your palm. All right, go ahead. Okay, hold up. Very good how your right arm's out in front. Your right palm, you want to have that down. It's not quite up, but if you turn it up, you just feel the muscle tension. But look at the angle of the racket head. All right, go ahead. And then the racket goes down. Okay, so when the ball is below the level net, let it run. When the ball is below the level net and you're hitting a deep volley, the racket is going to open up less than 10 degrees. A continental grip opens the racket face at 45 degrees. So again, study tennis math. Where do I get 45? The racket has 8 panels. You turn it 8 times. It's 360 degrees. 360 divided by 8 is 45. Now your strings are not facing the court you're on. Okay, the racket faces up. Go ahead. Now you get the racket vertical to hit. Watch. Go back. Ball on the strings. But watch where the racket's going to go. You pull it off the hitting zone so soon. And your weight doesn't go forward. It's not explosive. You can tell by the sound of the hit. The physical characteristics, speed, spin, trajectory, but also sound. It should sound like a gun's going off when you hit a volley. Boom. Pete Sampras was an amazing volleyer because he had that racket face vertical and he moved forward. Right? You're hard pressed to even talk about players who can volley. All right, go ahead. Push the hands out in front. But the volley will come back. Alcaraz will be a player that will, people just watch already. Okay, hold up, he's a very complete player. Look where the racket face is facing. Okay, there's no forward momentum. You have to realign the racket. The racket's going to slow down. Now just think about quick exchanges and doubles. It's not going to work. All right, go ahead. Okay, hold up. Now, there's a lot of history to what we do. I think of Vic Braden. Vic Braden taught the Bryan brothers how to play. He taught the Bryan parents how to teach. And, you know, we could show you film of the Bryan brothers working with Andy Fitzell and Vic Braden. All right, go ahead. So it's the same thing. It's not palm guidance, palm's not going out. The terminology, bent to bent. Body at a 45-degree angle. Okay, let it run. So you're going to be very reluctant to play a conventional forehand approach volley. Now, you should be a student of the game. You should be able to play tennis and teach tennis. All right. If you study what we've studied, it wouldn't be very difficult for you to know way, way more than most tennis teachers in the industry. Okay, so be in a position where you can steal the ace. Okay, your racket face is tilted down because of the grip you weight with. All right, go ahead. I like how you use your right hand, correct? Hold up, very good. The racket's up high, you're up high. Very good. The right arm's parallel to the baseline. All right, go ahead. All right, now you open up. The body is the leader. Hold up. So goes the body, so goes the racket. So your trunk, the largest body part, is already pulled out. Your belly button is facing the net strap. Regardless of the stance, open stance, closed stance, semi-open, your belly button should be facing the net post to the left at the impact point. It's good how you're hitting so far away from your body. Now watch what happens. Okay, hold up. This is absolutely crazy. It's so common today. Turn the doorknob. The windshield wiper. It's coming back to something I said earlier, is we're going to teach what's happened. Is the pros, like say Roger Federer, his racket tracks out to the target almost 4.5 feet. In other words, it keeps going out in this direction. You can't see it with the human eye. So what happens is the players recover, and during the recovery you see this movement that's horizontal, but people try to do it during the hit. All right, go ahead. You watched that tiebreaker the other day where the girl missed 5 forehands. She still won the tiebreaker. 1 on the return and 4 ground strokes. She was early every time. She was taught to do this. All right, let's watch it again, same angle. There's that step underneath, hold up. So we would teach you to wait in a ready position with a grip on 3, and then you can continue to use the same grip that you have on the forehand. But you need to have options. You should be able to set your racket up where you can hit a drop shot. It was the same thing that you heard explained to Sibby today, where you could just take the return like an approach shot, like a volley with an added follow through. Go ahead. Now you're going to see how you lengthen your arm behind you. Now the body opens up. Okay, hold up. Now the front leg should be straight. You really want to lift all the energy up through the ground. Now, but the trunk is pulled. It's pulled to the right. All right, now watch the forearm turn over in that position. Relax the swing from your elbow. So we could teach you how to hit like an off-pace passing shot, a topspin lob. Far more forehands go where the racket goes up over the head than it turns this way. All right, go ahead. It's amazing that everybody has a video camera in their pocket with their cell phone. Let it run. But for the most part, people don't use film. I mean, you could tell us how many times you've been filmed with all the training that you've had. One good thing is that you're loose. You want to be loose. You want to let that racket free fall. It's amazing how so many people try to hit the ball hard. If you try to hit the ball hard, you won't hit it right. But you try to hit the ball right, you'll be able to hit it hard. All right, go back a little bit. So, basics. Be brilliant with basics. Now today you did a drill where we said we've had 35 balls. And I said, okay, go to our website, go to Tennis Intelligence Applied, look up the drill 35 plus. So you have to make 5 forehand volleys, and then you have to make 5 forehand ground strokes. You miss the 4th ground stroke, you have to go back to make the volley. And you want to get to the point where it's 35 shots. And it's from a static balance position, and it's a great drill for people to do where they can rest after a tournament. No days off. Okay? Roger Federer's day off. He stops at 12 o'clock on Saturday, and at 12 o'clock on Sunday, that means he's had 24 days off. Okay? Max Domi is the title of his book, No Days Off. All right, go ahead. The brain doesn't know what day it is. Okay, hold up. Now, you change the angle of the racket head. This is very common. I would say most people are teaching this now. So for you to hit a specialty shot, such as a drop volley, drop shot, you have to realign the racket. All right, go ahead. Now you lengthen your arm out behind you. Hold up. Now go back. Now how the racket face is right there tilted down. Okay, go ahead. This snapping action where it's ballistic. It's not a tracking motion. Hold up. Now the racket head doesn't get below the ball. So you're not going to generate RPMs, enough revolutions per minute, per second. Anything that can be measured can be improved. It's a measurement. How far does that racket get below the ball? How long does the racket go out towards the target? All right, go ahead. Now, hold up. You're hitting out in front. Your eyes are there. There's positives. Front leg should be straight. Okay. Today we had you do the 2-1-2. Watch Federer hit balls during a warm-up. He goes 2-1-2. 2 hands on the racket when you turn, hit with 1, catch with 2. Because right now you need to be in a technical phase of instruction. Don't judge the unfinished product. It's like remodeling a kitchen. Actually, this kitchen we're in has been remodeled. All right, I was told it was cost $100,000 to remodel this. Crazy. All right, go ahead. But I'm sure it was very important to how it was done. I'll go back. Go back again. All right. Now this is something that you've been taught to do. All right, go ahead. So the timing, when are you going to do that? Now, when you swing really fast, the racket will pull off, but don't force it. Don't force it. All right, next angle. When you miss, you got to know why you missed. Okay, so center the racket, hold up, go back. Push your hands further away from your body. The ready position is the same for the volley as it is for your forehand. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now, there will always be individuality. The strength of the individual comes out. Okay? We all agree with the alphabet. This is the shape of A. This is the sound of A. We're going to move on to B. We all agree that 1 comes before 2. But in tennis, anything goes. You can make it up. Why is that the case? It's because you're playing against someone else. Scary. You're measured by who's on the other side of the net. When Crummy plays crummier, who wins? Crummy wins, but Crummy doesn't know they're crummy. Okay? All right, go ahead. So you change the angle of the racket head, you straighten your arm out, you deviate, you put the racket at a 45-degree angle the opposite way. All right, go ahead. When someone talks to you about the modern game, put your rackets in your bag and run the other way. All right, go back. Okay, so you're not really using your lower body. This is a semi-open stance. You never sat in the imaginary chair. And your racket, look at your left hand. It's really at waist level. To go down to knee level, that's a long ways down. For most people, it's just the unknown territory. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now the hitting zone. So it's very good. You can hit the ball with some force because you hit it away from your body. Power is related to the radius squared. You're the center of the circle. So the radius is half the diameter. But watch, it doesn't stay out to the target. 1, because you don't get below the ball, but 2, but you've been told to release your wrist. Go ahead. Now you lose your center of gravity slightly here where your body's not lined up. It's not that bad. I mean, some people look like they're throwing a discus when they hit a forehand. But you should be square to the net, so if I were to push you, you'd run in that direction. Okay, let it run. Okay, hold up. So today you met Tasia. We've been coaching Tasia. She's been part of this thing for 5 years. And, I mean, she's a 10-year-old, and the level of maturity is what it is. But she's playing with 2 girls from Montreal. I have them doing a drill. And the girls from Montreal just hit an off-pace approach shot for the 10-year-old girl. And she's going to pass or lob. they don't have the instincts to do that because they spent 7 years not going forward. And I could tell by just looking in the eye, they're intelligent. I said, well, should we just get better at being mediocre? Or should we just have you continue to play one-up, one-back doubles and stay back? I also told them that if this was a college setting, I was coaching them, they might not play till their junior year. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach them how to play. I'm not going to cross my fingers and think they're going to win. All right, go ahead. We would certainly say you're more of an arm player than a body player. Okay, the overhead. Okay, now go back. Now, when your mom was here, we talked about this palm up, this regress palm up. It's not a beginner's palm up. Once again, it's logical, intelligent. All right, watch how the racket face opens up. Okay, right there. And then you think, okay, I'm going to go out and throw a football that way. I'm going to go out and throw a baseball that way. Injuries are accumulative. And even though you've taken some time off, the injury will reoccur if you don't make the technical change. I just think of someone like Tommy Haas, who had the same operation twice in the same year, but he didn't have a diagnosis, or I should say a diagnostic coach of the flaw, the cause, the cure. All right, go ahead. There's not too many diagnostic coaches. Now hold up. That's where the diagnostic coach, the physical therapist, and the orthopedic surgeon should all be on the same page. At the time, by the time you're facing forward, or by the time you're hitting the ball, you're facing forward. All right, the contact point's not out in front. With one flaw, you create a counter flaw. You have to play the ball late because of the palm going up. Now I'll explain regress palm up on camera for you. It comes from down together, up together. It comes from the trophy look. It comes from pointing the racket right up to the sky. Then when the shoulder goes forward first, the opposite equal reaction is the elbow goes back. It should be like this. But you go like this. All right, go ahead. Close all the way in for a volley. Okay, hold up. Now, it's great that you're social. It's great that you know all these people at the tournament. You're visiting with them, having lunch. That's all great. But we don't approach people and talk to them about technique. We only talk to people about technique if they approach us. But I would keep your cards in pretty close. It's, you know, just this is what I'm working on my game. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now the palm's going to open up. As a result, you have to play the ball too far back and facing forward. Go ahead. All right, so you have to decelerate the left side decelerate the right side. We call it the power X. Now, as soon as you were done with your match at the UTR tournament, Battle of Boca, I said, over here, we'll show you on the backboard. We showed you concept after concept before we looked at the film. But everything I was showing you at the backboard, you're seeing it now. All right, go ahead. Let it run. Use crossover steps. It really comes down to one's passion quotient. It's not the intellectual quotient. Intelligence is not the problem. Emotional quotient is a factor. Adversity quotient, how much can you take? Most people can't take coaching. They really can't, especially in today's society, especially in America. All right, go ahead. So that, hold up. Go back and watch that. So the first step is a shuffle step. The second step, you step underneath. So it needs to be drilled. I think of Tom Brady. I mean, he's been playing forever. His father taught him in elementary school how to do crossover steps. When you move back for an overhead, it's just like a quarterback moving back. But one thing we don't do anymore is we don't teach tennis by teaching other sports because kids don't play other sports. All right, go ahead. Right now, our cameraman. It's okay. Must have been Johan. It wasn't Valentine. The Contact points late, you're facing forward. Okay, we'll go to the next angle though. Maybe you got him here, go ahead. Okay, hold up. All right, so the racket face should be closed more, but watch what's going to happen. It's going to open up right there, go back. So the racket's going to slow down. It's going to travel a shorter distance. All right, go ahead. Now we do it like a drill, for example, hold up. You did it today. We call it Elvis Presley on a skateboard. I do have a few original thoughts, and you can't do the Elvis Presley snap down with this contact point. All right, go ahead. We do know that the racket snaps up, but just to get people to get the feeling of having a contact point out in front. Okay, next angle. Okay, let it run. So crossover steps, too nonchalant. Now you're off screen, but the palm goes up right there. No, not full extension, body facing forward. Hold up. So again, there's not much body rotation. You're only perpendicular to the net. Now watch slowly what happens to the racket. Okay, hold up. Now, video. Video certainly can be a great learning tool. It's unfortunate that you have to try to be persuasive. Okay, go ahead. The contact points late, hold up. You don't have full extension. You're facing forward. You're not going to fence overheads. You're not going to pop the overhead over the fence. That's what the best players do. They don't angle it off in doubles. They pop it over the fence. Hold up. All right, go ahead. Hold up. So the way, go back. So no such thing as little folks, or excuse me, no such thing as little strokes for little folks. A project, a friend of mine, as a young kid, Lincoln, who you've met, his grandfather is a retired pilot, but he's a big-time student of tennis. And he's 7 years old. He's playing basketball, he's playing baseball, he's playing soccer, and he's being taught how to hit a tennis ball. It's not a matter of, well, we'll entertain him. Oh, he's got to play some orange ball. He's got to play some tournaments. And, you know, I don't know where his story takes him, but, you know, you're the author of your own story. I doubt very seriously that Sean was at the net post when he was 7, someone was teaching him how to hit a tennis ball. All right? I do know that these two girls, nice kids, but they were not taught very well. All right, go ahead. Okay, so let's go to the next shot, the most important shot, first shot of every point, sometimes the only shot. A very easy change is making your toss lower. The FedEx logo, sometimes people, they don't see the arrow in the FedEx logo, but once it's pointed out to you, you cannot not see the FedEx logo. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. But we did a project. One of my students was a tournament director. He was a facility director right here at the Delray Beach Tennis Center, 3 miles away, and they had the National 12s. So hold up, let it run, I'm sorry. Incognito, we filmed 50 boys, 50 girls. We just filmed serves from behind and forehands from behind. Well over 90% of the kids had some version of palm up. well over 90% of the kids had close to a Western grip on the forehand, or the contact point, the wrist. All right, so the toss, the apex, pretty high. Go ahead. Now go back, leave it right there. So the racket, the toss gives you more time for extra movements, but the racket's in the same position as your overhead. All right, go ahead. Oh, you've had enough coaching. It's a safe guess that you've heard the trophy look. All right, hold up. So at the hit, you don't have the power line. You have forces going to the right, and you're going backwards. You can see how you've bent at the waist. Your front foot is spun out. Let's see. It goes to the opposite net post. You lose as much as 30 miles per hour. Okay, hold up. Now, you could be on your back heel that way. Pete Sampras was a great server. I shouldn't really mention my son in the same breath, but he did this with his front foot. But eventually you have to get on your toe. All right, go ahead. So you can turn your knees in, your hips in. So you fan the racket, hold up, go back. You fan the racket, you go like this. Like a hot day, you have a fan. Hold up, now you let go of the ball, and your body is perfectly straight. What you need to do is turn, then toss. When you can't sleep, I tossed and turned all night. In the serve, you turn and toss. So your left arm should be bent. A little bit of a scissors where your arms separate. Go ahead. All right, most importantly, hold up. This is knee flexion with no knee rotation. So it's like you're doing the limbo, your back's getting tight. Now this is off a first serve. Your first serve is too far to the right. All right, go ahead. Now the racket's going to go palm up. And then your body spins out, front foot spins the opposite net post. So you don't need to be playing tournaments for a while. You need to change your strokes. All right, let's let it run. Insanity. I'm going to keep doing the same thing over and over again and think I'm going to have different results. Things that everyone's taught when they're a kid. Who wins the race, the rabbit or the turtle? Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Hold up. Who's going to survive the big bad wolf? Build your house out of brick by brick. Now, one of the problems, besides tennis teaching being relatively incompetent, or definitely incompetent, is the maturity level of the student. All right, go ahead. Like say Tasia, she's a young kid, she's 10, she doesn't know what she's being taught. Hold up, either did her brother here, Valentine, when he was 10. Okay, so hands are together, which is good right now. Okay, go ahead, the body's perfectly straight, there's no knee rotation, no hip rotation. So important for you to turn your right hip into the net post. Okay, hold up. So your elbow comes down and has to go back up a second time. Now your toss is going to fall about 2 racket lengths. Okay, go ahead. Now by the time you hit the ball, go back. Your contact point is right on the baseline. Go ahead. Bingo. I think Andy Roddick, he was the best server in America best player in America for 10 years. And for the most part, his toss was it's almost the length of the service box, 4.5 feet inside the court. So again, you've opened up, you've gone to the right, and you're bent at the waist. Now look where you land. You're not even inside the court. Your foot is on the baseline. Okay, let it run. Now your second serve is the same. You just toss further over your head. So you've been told it's all in the legs. It's true that the forces come up through the ground, through your legs, but it's not like an elevator. It's not up, down. It's the body coiling and uncoiling, like a baseball pitcher. Now that right arm flies out. Hold up. The right arm flies out. Your head shifts. You sneak a peek. By the time you feel the hit, now right now you're on the service line, but if you're on the baseline, The service line is 18 feet away. By the time you feel the hit, Harrison, the ball is 7 to 11 feet away from you. So there's plenty of time to do the Roger Federer, where you keep your eyes at the hit. All right, you should have the throw to the racket over your wrist. You know, we teach you, okay, the word picture method. Now, with the word picture method, every little detail, by putting the throw to the racket over your wrist, like a baseball player taking the ball out of the glove, it helps you relax the muscles. The looser you can be, the better. All right, slow motion. Okay, you're just using your arms right now. Hold up. So that's where, you know, casual, nonchalant. You've been part of a lot of programs where you're hitting serves, you're just talking to the person next to you. All right, go ahead. The racket points up to the sky. Hold up. Now this is your first serve. Okay? You really arch the back. Now even though you have a slight palm up, I mean, you're close to the surface motion. Your overhead too, where the racket I showed you, the 450 degrees. Look here from it, 90, 180, 180. Now let's see from this angle where you are at the impact point. Hold up, so you're looking straight ahead. All right, go ahead. Even though you don't toss that far in front, it's good to see how your forearm turns out, pronates. Feet should be a little further apart. Transfer your weight from front to back. Rotation from the ground up, knees, hips, shoulders. All right, go ahead. Hold up. Now right here. Racket points up to the sky. You fan the racket. Now don't get me wrong. You want knee flexion, but you want knee rotation. You never turn your right hip into the net post. You separate your lower body from your upper body. All right, go ahead. Now look at your front foot. Your front foot landed on the service line and it spins out to the opposite net post. All your energy needs to go up and out at a 45-degree angle to the net post to the left. Okay, better looking than Harrison Ford. Here we go. It's going to be a carbon copy. The tosses is going to go further over your head. Okay, hold up. That in itself, besides having your regress palm up, even your first serve is problematic. But there's just so much wear and tear on your shoulder by tossing the ball too far to the right. Also, too, is that your toss is not far enough in front, and then how you use your body. Okay, so what we'll do now is keep going forward. We need to make the classroom review, which will just help clarify some points.